Earlier this week, Southern California pounded by biblical rains, but now the clouds are gone and the horizon has cleared. Same can be said of the SC Men of Troy basketball team, who have now won 3 in a row. Today, inside the Galen Center, taking on a gritty bunch from Logan, Utah. It's SC against Utah State. Pac-12 basketball presented by Lexus. Hi, everybody. Welcome to downtown Los Angeles. Jim Watson, Don McClain. SC with this young team stumbled out of the gate. Now they've won 3 in a row. How do they keep it going?
Well, they've been good defensively all year, but their offense needs to catch up to their defense. Shot selection and turnovers. They've gotten control in both of those areas. So to keep it going, they have to continue to improve taking good shots, but also not turning it over, giving them more possessions.
Yeah, turnovers are down. Defense is better for SC. For Utah State, it's been just the opposite. They started out really well. This is a team that dropped all their starters from a year ago. They won their first 3.
Yep.
Now they've lost 3 in a row.
Well, one of the most inexperienced teams Stu Morrill's ever had at Utah State. So you kind of expect this, where you're going to have some good games and not so good. But what they do have is good perimeter shooting. They have 4 guys that can really shoot it. So once they get completely comfortable, you're going to see them be more consistent offensively, which in turn you would think would make them more consistent in terms of wins.
Both teams are going to go with the same starting lineups they had last time out. For Stu Morrill and the Utah State Aggies, they are 3-3, and what a job this guy has done. He's been there 17 years. He's the all-time winningest coach in Utah State history. Utah State is 3-3 on the year, and the 2 big names, Jalen Moore, the sophomore, averages 15 and 7. That's best for the Aggies. Chris Smith is coming off 25 points against BYU. USC is 5-3, but Andy Enfield has tweaked his lineup a little bit. It's put a smile on his face. USC is a much better team now, cutting down those turnovers from 19 a game to 11 a game. They're playing better defense at that end of the building. The difference, well, they inserted Darian Clark, the redshirt sophomore, and Elijah Stewart, the freshman, into the first 5. It's a small change, Don, but it seems to have made a big difference.
Yeah, Clark really a rugged type rebounder, and that was an area they struggled in very early, was rebounding the ball, so he's kind of shored that up a little bit. I'm anxious. This is the second time I've been here to see Jordan McLaughlin. You know, so much responsibility placed on this freshman early in his career, but he's responded. He leads them in scoring. He's the one, you know, we've already talked about turnovers. He's already getting better in that area. The natural maturation of a freshman point guard is valuing possessions, understanding that you can't be loose with the ball. You got to make good decisions. So he's already progressed in that area for USC.
The series is just about even over the years. Utah State has won 3 out of the last 4, but they haven't won in Los Angeles since 1962.
Should be a good one, Waddy. I mean, 2 teams kind of similar in the fact that they're inexperienced, have been up and down early. Should be a good one to watch.
And USC is coming off a 16-point victory over crosstown rival LMU. They had 4 players in double figures. They also hit 9 3-pointers.
Nice pass by Reinhardt. And Jovanovic has gotten off to a slow start. I think with the freshman year that he had last year, I think people expected a big jump. Shooting percentages aren't where you would think they would be, but he's a good player, and I think the more this goes on, the better he will play.
Right, last year, Jovanovic shot 52% to lead all freshmen in the conference. Jalen Moore comes back with the equalizer there for Utah State.
Big hair, big game for Moore.
Oh, yeah, that is a terrific afro. Actually, Utah State has some great hair on the bench as well. We'll see them as they come into the game.
Little matchup zone for Utah State here, the first possession. Second possession, I should say.
Caden Reinhardt, McLaughlin out front. McLaughlin knocks down the triple. Jordan McLaughlin, who leads this team at 12 points a game.
Well, we talked about the defense being good for USC. The offense needs to catch up. 2 possessions, 2 buckets for USC. Good start.
10th 3-pointer of the year for Jordan McLaughlin, a super talented freshman from Etiwanda, just about 30 or 40 minutes from the SC campus. Jalen Moore comes flying in to knock that ball loose, but SC's going to pick it up.
Running on opportunity, USC.
Caden Reinhardt. Yeah. He leads this team. That's his 14th 3-pointer. He's a great spot-up shooter. And if somebody comes out on him, he's going to put it on the deck and go around you.
He's a good player. Started at UNLV as a freshman almost every game. Had to sit out last year and has gotten off to a bit of a slow start, which is typical.
Inside, David Collette fouled. He tried to go up and under.
Well, kick out. Reinhardt actually assisted on both the first 2 buckets for USC and then gets rewarded with a 3 of his own. But just to finish the point about Reinhardt, sitting out a year, you expect some rust. You know, he wants to play more point guard, but obviously with McLaughlin in the lineup, he's going to play off. So shot selection, something that we've talked about. He's been one of the main culprits, but as it's gone on, I think he's settled in. He's more comfortable in the offense, understands what his role is, and he'll continue to get better with his choice of shots.
Good start for SC, looking to go 3 for 3 from outside. Nice rebound by Jovanovic, and he tries to go backdoor. And a foul along the baseline. So SC is being aggressive, but also showing some patience at the offensive end.
Well, Jovanovic with the nice little dump off to Stewart. He gets the offensive rebound. Tough catch in traffic, and Stewart gets the foul. You know, with all the accolades and everyone talking about Jordan McLaughlin, Elijah Stewart's going to be a player here at USC too. Just getting going in his career.
Yes.
Hasn't shot it real well from deep, and that was the scouting report on him coming in, that he was a really good shooter. But similar to Reinhardt, but different circumstance. Just got to get comfortable.
His free throw makes it an 8-1 run for SC. Stewart popped into the lineup for SC against Drexel about 5 games ago. Backdoor to Collette, and he flushes it easily. SC got lost on defense.
Well, the thing about Utah State, they execute, and because they have guys that can make jumpers, it makes it even harder because you got to push out, and that's what you're susceptible to, backdoor cuts.
Utah State's going to rotate between a man and a 2-3, and they'll flip it each time down court just to keep you confused, make you burn 5 seconds recognizing it. Backdoor rebound there by Jalen Moore.
As I said, Utah State not looking to slow it down, but not really looking to play fast either. They execute another backdoor to Collette.
And timeout Andy Enfield, because 2 times Collette found his way all the way to the basket. This is obviously somebody that SC has to be aware of. David Collette averaging 12 points a game, and they share the rock.
Well, listen, USC's holding an opponent to 38% from the field, but you're not going to do it with defensive possessions like that. That's just 2 simple cuts for Collette for wide open buckets. Miscommunication, not paying attention on the weak side. Andy Enfield with a quick timeout.
And everybody talks about Enfield coming out of Florida Gulf Coast and that up-tempo offense, but he actually has put a lot of emphasis on defense, and it's paid off. So far, SC has played 8 games. 6 times they've held opponents to 40% or less.
Well, and I even fell into that last year when I came here to do first couple games. I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to see this team up and down. And I came to practice, and the whole practice was almost defense. Because you can't run if you don't get stops, and that's the thing that people forget. You can run out of makes, but it's not as easy as when you get stops and push it in transition.
First couple of games, Portland State, Tennessee Tech, SC did try to run and throw lobs, and it got a little sloppy, and they were giving up 19 turnovers a game. They've settled down. McLaughlin is starting to get comfortable at the point now.
It's a fine line between playing free and open and being disciplined.
Reinhardt hits his first 2 triples of the day.
He can shoot. And again, the shot selection a little bit questionable to start the year, but you get the sense he's really starting to settle in, just under 10 points a game for USC.
He's got 6 to lead both sides. Collette cutting through the lane. Now they get it to him on the bounce. Collette turn and face to Moore baseline. And Elijah Stewart goes up and pulls it down with one hand.
Better attention to detail in that possession for USC.
In transition, Jordan McLaughlin hits his second 3. So both of the guards now raining triples, and SC opening up a 16-7 lead.
Has offense really been an issue for this USC team? I mean, this is impressive. If it has been the issue, they're fixing it here in the first few minutes of this one.
SC averaging just 64 points a game on the year. At the top, Darius Perkins for Utah State. Collette and Stewart picked his pocket. Ahead to Reinhardt. Backdoor pass to Darian Clark for the flush.
Well, you love the unselfishness. Reinhardt could have taken that in himself and nobody would have said anything, but he saw Clark running the floor, dumped it back to him, big flush. This is impressive early for USC on the offensive end, but they're digging out loose balls. Good effort except for those 2 possessions.
Inside Collette again, and Andy Enfield stamps the floor in frustration, and he's going to make a change defensively.
That was too easy. Deep post for Collette, just simple left shoulder jump hook. Need a little more resistance at whoever's guarding him down there.
And Collette has 3 buckets, and all 3 have come within a foot of the basket. Reinhardt looked for the screen from Jovanovic. Stewart got swatted, caught it, and landed out of bounds. So David Collette, who had a frustrating game against BYU, he fouled out in just 16 minutes. He's the only guy playing for Utah State early on. SC sharing the basketball. Winners of 3 in a row and up early. Basketball is brought to you by State Farm. It pays to double check. Talk to your agent today. And by Lexus, introducing the first ever 306 horsepower RC Coupe from Lexus. Tommy Trojans, standing proud. The SC basketball team has won 3 in a row. Look around the rest of the Pac-12. Arizona State with a tough loss against Texas A&M. Brandon Ashley got his, but well, Arizona had to go extra time against Gonzaga.
What a game that was, and that's a sign of a really good team when you don't have your best and you dig it out against a top 10 Gonzaga team. Lacey erupts again. We've seen that before from him, and then kind of quietly up there in Corvallis,
yeah.
Victor Robbins is coming on, and they're better than people thought. I mean, I think a lot of us expected with the coaching change and everybody transferring out of Oregon State that they weren't going to win very many games. I think they've won more games than a lot of people thought already.
Yeah, Wayne Tinkle has the Beavs off to a 5-2. That's a surprising start.
It really is.
USC is shooting 67% to start this game, and they haven't all been dunks. They have 2 of those, but they also have hit their share of threes. SC is 4 of 6 from outside the arc.
And only 31% as a team coming in from behind the line.
Utah State not shooting too badly themselves, over 50%. Jalen Moore missed that look. Utah State out of the timeout in a man.
You made the point earlier about them switching defenses, and I think the longer this game goes on, the easier USC should be able to detect what Utah State's in, but they got to get the ball moving, whichever defense they're playing.
McLaughlin hands it to Reinhardt, who's got his first miss of the day. Rebound, Darian Clark. Clark battling on the boards. Into the game for SC. Gavrilovic, he was at the scores table when we went to break. Perkins, late to Collette. Collette has everything around the basket. 4 shots, all layups.
I don't know why he's wide open underneath the basket as much as he has been. Whoever's guarding him's got to get back and match up and understand where he is on the floor.
SC's going to make 2 changes. Malik Martin is going to come in along with Julian Jacobs. Both of those guys were starters in the very beginning of the year. Giveaway, backcourt by Utah State. Reinhardt backs it out.
Oh, nice job to stay with it, poke it away, get them another possession. Missed layups. And that's one thing. We talked about the 3-point percentage, but they've missed a ton of layups and a ton of layups late. Penn State game earlier in the year, Jovanovic had a layup to tie it with 30 seconds, missed that, which could have been a difference maker. I think overall this offense will settle in and get better. It's a young team, not a lot of experience. Chris
Smith short from outside, long board goes to Reinhardt, and he's at full speed. Giving it up. Gavrilovic got swatted away. Defensively, JoJo McClaston.
Waiting for you to say that name. It's a great basketball name, isn't it? JoJo McClaston.
JoJo White from the Celtics. Jalen Moore with a pump fake. SC fans thought he came off the floor and should have been a walk. I don't think he did. So SC now has missed 7 shots in a row, and Utah State's getting back into it.
Utah State, I was just going to say, has kind of settled the game now. Is getting away from them early. SC was running and dunking, become more of a half-court game now.
6-0 run by the Aggies. There's the lob inside. Clark settled. Nice job by him. Young player didn't try to force it. Caught it, came down, went up with 2 hands.
Well, a good find, too, by McLaughlin. A cross-court lob pass. Got to put that right on the money, or it gets intercepted, or you throw it out of bounds.
SC forcing Utah State to the perimeter. Moore fires into the corner. JoJo McClaston, the lefty, strokes the triple.
Well, great presence by Moore. He eludes the offensive foul and doesn't try and make a circus shot. Kicks it out to the opposite corner, and they knock down the 3. Nice play.
From the point. Nice pass by Reinhardt to get it inside. Gavrilovic dropped that shoulder. No whistle. Count the bucket.
You know what, though? I like the no call. You know, a lot of guys selling offensive fouls these days. Like the fact that there was no whistle there.
Perkins draws 2. Smith and McClaston just coupled together on that wing for Utah State. Drops that elbow in and Field wanted an offensive. They're going to let him play.
Good strip low. Got numbers, USC.
Elijah Stewart. Rebound again. Inside by Darian Clark, who's doing a good job on the offensive glass. He went down and lost the ball. Transition, Collette giving it up to McGlaston. Blocked by Stewart. And they called the block, and then JoJo got it back and came down out of bounds. It'll be SC basketball when we come back. Well, defense has been the difference for SC in the last couple of games, and this is a statement play. JoJo McGlaston thinks he has two. Elijah Stewart says no.
Back at Galen, 22-16 Trojans, and a big reason why they have the lead is the three ball. They've been sharing it, they've been moving it. Coming into this game, their defense has been good, but offense has been lagging. But if they can move the ball and get guys to open spots with their feet set, their offense is going to come on, and they've been really sharp here in this first half with getting it ahead, moving the ball, and getting it to shooters, and they haven't hesitated. And typically this Utah State defense pretty good at guarding the three-point line, but not here this afternoon. 4 of 8 to start for USC.
It's going against both numbers. SC better shooting it. Utah State not as good defending it. 11 minutes to play first half. Julian Jacobs is in for SC, wearing the 12. Jacobs started the first couple games of the season for SC. Trojans changed their starting lineup 5 games ago, and now they've won 3 in a row.
Let's see if USC can keep it going, though. Some of the habits that they're trying to build, you know, it's only the first 11 or 8 or 9 minutes we're talking about. Can they keep it going? Can they keep shooting it as well?
Chaz Bryant also in for SC. He wears number 3. And the change for Utah State, Sean Harris, one that we expect to see. Harris came off the bench against BYU and played very well. Perry, he also came in during that timeout, so both teams have made 2 changes. Picked up by Malik Martin for SC to Jacobs.
One thing that Utah State has noticed is that the weak side is open.
Marchetti gets a big bounce. Malik Marchetti, that ball hit the heel, went as high as the backboard and came right through.
Don't get many of those in a season, but you'll take it. Man, must be one of those days for USC here this afternoon.
From the top, Moore, a little strong as Harris, trying to bat it back outside, but Ivanovic, first guy there for SC.
I wouldn't leave Moore open like that very often. He's more often than not going to knock that one down. So USC got away with one there.
Moore averaging 15 points a game and shooting better than 50% from the field. Jacobs got in trouble and bailed out. Marchetti dumps it down low. Malik Martin. So this is a whole different group for SC, and the game has changed now. SC is a little clunkier now at the offensive end.
They're getting sloppy. Watch the bounce on this. This thing will go way out of the picture and come right back down. But you're right, Waddy. I mean, with the lineup changes, the ball's not as crisp. The offense isn't as sharp. Let's see if Utah State can take advantage.
Jacobs in a foot race, able to get there and stays in bounds.
How athletic was that play?
Marchetti pull up from 12. He thought he got fouled.
Probably one he'd like to have back. There's no reason for that shot.
Chris Smith in and out from the corner.
You want to play with good pace, but again, I go back to what we talked about in the open shot selection. And that last possession, Marchetti, was it a bad shot? No, but could you have gotten a better one? Yes.
Chad Bryant, lucky to get this one back. He got caught in the air, tried to shovel it inside, deflected away by the Aggies, and back in comes McLaughlin.
To stabilize the offense for USC. He's going to play heavy minutes this year, and you wonder as a freshman, will he hold up? We know he's got the game to play that many minutes, but as we know, sometimes freshmen get worn down as you go through the course of a season, especially if they're playing big minutes.
McLaughlin had a great debut against Portland State. Still his career high at 19 points. Another turnover by SC. Julian Jacobs kicks it out of bounds.
It's funny how things kind of manifest themselves. What a great start for USC offensively. But here we are 11.5 minutes in, and they're kind of reverting back to what we were talking about to start the game. Turnovers and shot selection.
3 turnovers by SC now. They've been very good in that category last 5 games. Utah State, by the way, is a top 10 team in the country taking care of the basketball. They only commit 9 turnovers a game, Utah State. They already have 4 here today.
They run their offense, and you have to be patient defensively and dig in. As I said earlier, they're not going to run it all the way down, but they're going to execute until they get a good look at it, which means you could be guarding them for 20, 25 seconds of the shot clock.
Stu Morrill's had his system in place for a long time in Logan. All-time winningest coach, but in his career, 17 years at Utah State, 28 years as a head coach. The guy's won 605 games.
It's a lot of games. You probably figured out how to coach in that long. You do anything that long, you're probably going to figure it out. But he's had a tremendous coaching career at Utah State, and you and I were talking before the game about the change in conference. They're now in the Mountain West, and it's not as easy a road to hoe as it was in the WAC. Seemed like they were going to the tournament every year. Now the Mountain West, we know how good that conference is.
Utah State's been to the NCAA tournament 20 times. Ivanovic inside, tried to go under. I would like to have seen him go up with some strength and some elbows.
Dunk it.
Bolton, kick out. Julian Perry missed his first look and comes back to hit his second.
That's what they do, drive and kick or throw it cross court to shooters, but simple possession there, not good defense by USC.
7.5 minutes to play first half. SC has led the entire way. McLaughlin. Since he comes into the game, the ball finds his hands. It gets back to Jovanovic on the tip.
Well, they're doing a good job on the offensive board as USC. They just haven't gotten many results. That time they do. Jovanovic with the left-hand finish. 7-point lead still. See some zone for USC now. And you can't guard the dribble. That's what you do a lot of times. Go to that 2-3 zone.
Bolton, Perry, and McGlaston outside. McGlaston can hit that deep three, but that was way off the mark. It goes to Sean Harris, who misses it. Got knocked down. Here comes SC.
Biggest guy on the floor for USC was at the other end when Utah State was getting another possession.
That's what Sean Harris brings to this team. He'll knock it away. He'll frustrate you. Andy Enfield is out talking with Vern Harris. He doesn't like the way this one's being called, or in this case, not called. Coming up at the break, we'll send it up to San Francisco. It's the State Farm halftime report with Jill Savage. Oregon taking on Ole Miss, Cal, and North Carolina State, and Colorado all the way back east against Georgia. Something else going on today of interest for Pac-12 fans. USC and UCLA playing for the national championship in water polo.
Is that right?
Just down the road from us here in Long Beach. SC has won the national championship 6 years in a row, but UCLA is #1.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I knew USC had won it a bunch of years in a row, but I didn't know that UCLA was #1 in the country.
Turnaround inside. Nikola Jovanovic for SC, who averages 10 and 8. Certainly good numbers, but Don, I told you before the game, I'd like to see him a little bit better in each category.
More. I think people expected that. He went on that China trip with the Pac-12 and led them in scoring 3 of the games this summer. And, you know, with the roster turnover, you would have thought that he'd be a huge part of this team, and he is. But I do think those numbers will go up.
Sean Harris hits his first shot of the game. Utah State now with a hybrid starting 5. Harris was not in there, but, well, I guess Bolton stays on the court. So 3 starters on the court for the Aggies.
Well, they're not going to go away. And USC at that last timeout down to 40% from the field. So they got off to the hot start, but haven't been able to continue it like we wondered. And so can they get it going again?
McLaughlin needs to hit one, and he does. And his heels were right on the sideline, right in front of Utah State coach Stu Morrill.
Well, I like when Jacobs is in the game with him, because what that does is put McLaughlin off the ball, and he's a good shooter. So Jacobs runs the offense. McLaughlin can spot up.
Darius Perkins got a nice bounce and trapped.
What's with the bounces today?
I know there's 2 you don't normally see, right? 32-25 SC. Utah State's never led. Julian Jacobs picks it up and throws it in.
How about the wherewithal to know where you are and not only get that ball, but put it up on the window and get it to go down? Doing a bunch of these USC games, Waddy. Jacobs makes a play like that once a game, whether it's a dunk, a tip dunk, something in transition. But just spectacular athletic play. Ball's fumbling around, he finds it and knows where he is and gets it up and in.
Well, he leads SC 59% from the field. He doesn't shoot a lot,
no,
but he has been increasing his production of late. I wouldn't be surprised to see him shoot a bit more. He's coming off a season-high 14 in the win against Loyola Marymount.
Well, you got Reinhardt, Jacobs, and McLaughlin in the lineup right now. All three of those guys can run the show or play off the ball.
Jalen Moore is back in there, and he knocks down the three and keeps Utah State close. Under 5 minutes to go, first half.
More the proverbial stretch four for Utah State, and you got to get out there and guard him or he's going to hurt you.
SC answers right back.
I think you may see more of this because McLaughlin's really starting to emerge as a three-point threat, and if he is, put another guard in there with him and let him play off the ball, move around, get to open space.
McLaughlin now 12 points to lead SC. Driving to the lane is Collette, and he has just been death for the SC defense. He is doing whatever he wants, and he's getting inside to do it.
Well, and they went for the foul there because he got through the defense. But if you're going to foul him, don't let him get it up there on the window for the three-point opportunity. And he shouldn't get that loose in the middle of a 2-3 zone, but he did. Foul him, make him earn it from the line. Don't let him put it up there and in and get a chance for three.
Utah State, has now scored 4 consecutive trips. And they're going to have to shoot this free throw again. Lane violation?
Yeah. Mental errors.
And he missed the free throw, so note that.
You always wonder if he makes this free throw, this 1 point, does it come back to haunt you later in the game?
They got Stewart for SC. Missed them both, so it's a wash.
You know what's funny is he missed it almost the exact same way.
He did.
Got to make the adjustment.
Gavrilovic fakes that high hedge. Caden Reinhardt back in for SC on the wing. Darian Clark dropping the shoulder into a double team. And a scrum underneath. Utah State gets the ball. SC gets the foul.
Clark tried to go quick. He didn't even see the double coming from the top side, but got himself bunched in on the baseline.
Timeout, 3:54 to play. SC continues to lead 37-30, but all you have to do is look at the face of Andy Enfield, and you know that this game has changed. More Pac-12 basketball later on today at 4 o'clock. UCLA playing host to San Diego. That's over at Poly. And at 6 o'clock, number 13, San Diego State heading north, square off against Lorenzo Romar and the Washington Huskies. It all continues on the Pac-12 Network and Pac-12 Now. You and I have done a number of UCLA games. We love Looney. How about Robert Upshaw on Montlake?
He impacts the game, and I think the more it goes along, his conditioning will come along. He'll be able to play bigger stretches of minutes, but haven't seen many guys come into this conference with the ability to block shots like Robert Upshaw.
Collette got free underneath, deflected away by Elijah Stewart at the last second.
Although we did for the last 4 years see the all-time shot block leader in the conference, Jordan Baczynski, at Arizona State, graduated last year.
Been a pretty easy day for David Collette. He now is 6 for 6 from the field. They've all been like that. That was probably his most difficult effort.
Hey, I'm a broken down 44-year-old, but I could probably make those layups he's getting. They are wide open right at the rim.
Collette has a game high 13. Reinhardt has already hit 2, and now he's got 3 threes in the first half.
How dangerous do you become as an offensive team if both your starting guards can really spot up and shoot it? And you see how many points they've scored, and a big part of that is Reinhardt and McLaughlin have gotten it going from behind the line this afternoon.
Reinhardt hasn't missed from out there. He's made all 3 efforts.
Just makes your offense so much more balanced. Now it's easier for Jovanovic if you're spreading the floor, knocking down jumpers.
Utah State under 10 seconds. They're a mess. They had no sequence going on there. And Collette comes up with the rebound, fakes and scores. He's 7 for 7 in the first half.
Who wants to accept the challenge on the USC roster to go in the game and guard Collette? Because he's having a free run here today.
Tough shot by McLaughlin, and he doesn't get the whistle. Here comes Jalen Moore. Kicks in the front court. Perry, who's hit 2 in a row from that right side. And here come the Aggies. It's a 1-possession game.
USC gets a little bit sloppy. They're not executing as well. And guess what? Utah State comes right back at them. And now they're the ones that are sharp offensively. They cut it to a 1-possession game.
Knocked out SC, keeps it. Plenty of time on the shot, 22 seconds. SC's going to change 3 guys. Now, Collette has all of Utah's points in the paint.
Well, he moves well without the ball. That's apparent. And he just doesn't stop. So he is at the rim. He's offensive rebounded, but he's cutting to the basket, and his teammates are finding him.
15 points, 4 rebounds, 7 for 7 from the field. McLaughlin from 24 feet.
There's the shot selection again. That wasn't a good shot.
You're always going to be open from out there, aren't you?
Yeah. Go ahead and take that one if you want.
Here's Collette. And why not go to the basket? And he gets fouled. So he's had success every time he's taken it to the basket. 1:43 to play. At intermission, back to San Francisco. The State Farm halftime report. Jill Savage with all the basketball from around the conference on a Sunday afternoon. It has been beautiful in Southern California the last couple days, but there was a ton of rain down here recently. And Collette is having an epic day. 16 points in the first half. His only problems have been at the free throw line where he missed 2.
Well, let's remember now, redshirt freshman, but went on his LDS mission, so he's an older redshirt freshman, which is always an advantage. A couple more years to develop physically, but give him credit. As I said, he's been active, plays with a great motor, and he's been at the rim. Somebody from USC has got to step up and try and slow him down.
He also just got married when he got back from his mission, and that'll mature you, won't it, Don?
It'll do a lot of other things, too.
Utah State's on an 11-3 run right now.
Well, important for both teams, but especially for USC at home to finish the half with the lead. You don't want to give up the lead and give Utah State a lot of hope after you got off to such a tremendous start, USC did. And to give it all up and give up the lead going into halftime could be pretty demoralizing.
Any basket here by the Aggies puts him in front for the first time today. Chris Smith to the basket. Arian Clark takes it off the tin. Here comes SC. And Jacobs just took his eye off it. Twice he's lost the handle. Smith for the lead. And who else follows it up? David Collette.
Because he's playing harder than everybody else. That's why he has all these points. He followed the play, didn't quit on it, gets rewarded with the tip dunk.
13-3 in the last 4 minutes for Utah State.
At about a 17-second differential.
Malik Martin, tough shot. Jalen Moore, and Stu Morrill holds his hands up and says, let's go with 1 shot. He wants the lead at halftime.
He's going to call timeout here, too.
I'll tell you what, it's not always a good thing for Utah State to have the lead. This is a strange statistic, but it makes a lot of sense. Utah State has trailed in the half of each of its victories. Yeah. They've led at the half in each of their losses.
Well, again, look, Collette's just finishing the play. SC players just standing around watching. The bigs for USC didn't even follow the play down to that end of the court, and that's what happens. But I'm going to be real interested to see, because make or miss here, Utah State's probably going to have the lead going into halftime. How does USC respond coming out of halftime? Do you hang your head because you gave up a big lead early, or do you come back out fighting again? But I do know one thing. Pretty sure Andy Enfield's going to look around the locker room at halftime and ask somebody who wants to guard David Collette.
USC led this game by 11 points at one point. And now Utah State, with that 11-3 run, has erased all of it, and nobody's getting a body on David Collette. So SC's given up a double-digit lead in about 4.5 minutes. More on the side, they stack it. 20 seconds.
USC can feel better about it. They get a stop here and don't let Utah State extend this lead. See what Utah State draws up here. Guess who?
Collette kick, offensive foul.
That was the play design for Collette to drive and kick, and great job by USC to step in. Gavrilovic wasn't really squared up, but they gave him the call anyway.
Second foul on Collette, so they're going to get him to the bench. Remember, he had an awful experience against BYU. He fouled out and played only 16 minutes in that game.
Well, it's come back and really redeemed himself here this afternoon.
SC can still lead. McLaughlin tries to throw it up to get shots, but the foul to give was before.
We got one more to give, too.
So SC on the side with 4 seconds now to play.
Heads up play by Utah State to recognize that they had fouls.
McLaughlin can give SC the lead. The runner? No. So SC gives up that 11-point lead, and now they got to go in the locker room and look in the mirror.
Well, an entertaining first half. When we started the show talking about the struggles of the USC offense, and their offense wasn't the problem in this half. It was their defense and containing David Collette. Let's see if they can shore that up in the second half.
David Collette, 19 points, 8 for 8 from the line. Jordan McLaughlin for SC with 12. SC has won 3 in a row. Utah State has lost 3 in a row. After the break, to San Francisco. State Farm halftime report with Jill Savage.